Hello there, and welcome back to the Codex. Today we're diving deep into one of my favorite game mechanics, and one that you will see me utilize very often if you catch any of my streams over on Twitch, where I love to do long fisher survivals, and that mechanic is ability snapshotting. Snapshotting refers to how some abilities in Warframe can retain temporary power strength buffs throughout their duration if those buffs were active at the moment of casting. Warframe's ability calculations lock in the power strength you have when you cast, rather than updating dynamically as buffs change. So if you cast an ability while temporarily boosted, that ability will maintain the boosted strength even after the buffs expire. As an aside note, this also means that if you receive a new power strength buff you wish to benefit from, you will need to reset your current cast of whatever ability you are currently maintaining. For example, let's say you're in a Fisher mission with no power strength mods equipped, just the baseline 100%. If you get the Warframe Corruption buff for double strength, temporarily raising you to 200%, then cast a channeled ability, that cast will have 200% strength for its entire duration, even after the Corruption buff wears off. The ability essentially snapshots, or takes a picture of, the additional power strength you had at the time of casting. So why is this useful? Well, we can utilize this mechanic by stacking multiple temporary power strength buffs before casting an ability that can be refreshed, such as Chroma's Vex Armor that you've been seeing me use in the background gameplay here, channeled abilities like Gloom, Renewal, and Exalted Weapons, or abilities that can regain duration on kill, such as Cathode Grace. These snapshot abilities can maintain strength far beyond typical modded values, opening the door to some incredible scaling. How about we explore this concept further on one of my favorite Warframes in the game, and that's Gyrre. I'm playing Gyrre with her Cathode Current augment, which lets both Rotor Swell and Cathode Grace gain duration back on kills, making them perfect for snapshotting. I've modded my Gyrre to reach 328% strength after multi-augmented stacks up. In a Fisher mission on Lua Conjunction Survival, if I stand near a lone Guardian who grants me an extra 50% power strength for casting nearby, this puts me at 378%. Adding a Matterized Void Sling brings up to 418%. I get another 60% from the Vome Invocation on my Grimoire, putting me up to 478. Then I gather my 10th Reactant and get Corrupted, doubling my strength, including those temporary buffs, to 956%. Finally, I throw out a Nidus Spectre, which links to me with a 28% multiplicative increase, bringing my power strength to an insane 1,223%. This gives me over 18 energy regen per second and 600% global crit chance from Cathode Grace, as well as a massive damage boost to Rotor Swell, all of which stays active as long as I keep those abilities running. I could stay in that mission for hours, maintaining those boosted values indefinitely. Now, while this is achievable and very useful even while solo, the presence of teammates can push these values even higher if they play as a frame that can further buff your power strength, such as Nidus via his Parasitic Link, Jade thanks to her Power of the Seven, or Equinox's Provoke. For example, replacing my Nidus Spectre with an actual Nidus player, providing an 80% Parasitic Link, which would be double to 160% if they were also corrupted, raises Gyrre power strength from 1,223% to a ridiculous 2,485%. And we're still not near max theoretical values. I once built a team that allowed Chroma's Vex Armor to reach a truly absurd 15,000% armor bonus, equating to over 4,200% power strength through layered temporary buffs. Let's showcase with a simple example of snapshotting using Oberon's Renewal. Renewal gives a base armor buff of 200 at 100% strength. This means that by dividing the armor buff value by 2, you get the power strength of that cast. For example, if you saw Oberon's Renewal provide 2,000 armor, you would know that cast was snapshotted at 1,000% strength, since 2,000 divided by 2 is 1,000. In the example on screen, my Oberon has 1,773 armor, so dividing by 2 shows that I had approximately 886% power strength at the time of casting. Even though the corruption buff wears off, the value remains because it was snapshotted. As long as I can maintain my energy to keep Renewal from deactivating, I could enjoy this heavily buffed cast for an indefinite amount of time. Imagine how useful you could be to your team by applying the same logic to a more popular support frame, such as Wisp, who happens to also utilize snapshot functionality due to her modes having infinite duration. If you took a 300% strength Wisp to a Fisher mission, got corrupted, and used Matterized Void Sling, that combination of buffs alone would put you at 760% strength. You could then replace all of your modes, which would then snapshot that value for the duration of their lifespan, which is permanent as long as they aren't nullified or replaced. Congratulations! You've now given your entire team a permanent, massive max health, health regen, movement speed, fire rate, and melee attack speed buff. You are officially the MVP of the squad. Now, what happens if we take this concept to the extreme and apply it to multiple players within the same team? How absolutely busted can the right combination of Warframes make something like a several-hour-long Fisher survival? Well, let's do some math. Here's our team idea. Chroma, Wisp, Nidus, and Jade. I'll simplify the math and say everyone is modded for 300% strength, although in Jade's case specifically, this isn't very relevant, as her ability strength buff is capped. So first things first. With help from Corruption and Nidus' Parasitic Link, Jade easily caps out her power strength aura at 150%. Providing this to the entire team brings their new baselines up to 450%. Let's say everyone is also using Matterized Void Dash before casting their relevant abilities, bringing it up further to 490%, meaning that once corrupted, they are all looking at around 980% strength, which again, to make things easy, let's round that to a clean 1000%. Something really nasty happens when you have a 1000% power strength Nidus, because that equates to a 250% Parasitic Link, effectively a 3.5x ability strength multiplier to anyone he links. Let's hit the Chroma with this first. With his newfound 3500% strength, Vex Armor is now providing everyone near him with a staggering 12,250% armor bonus and 9,625% weapon damage. Next up, we switch the Parasitic Link to Wisp while both are corrupted, again resulting in 3,500% power strength. For Wisp, this means her Vitality and Haste modes are now providing 10,500 additional max health, 1,050 health regenerated per second, 700% movement and attack speed, and 1,050% fire rate. Now, I know people say health taking doesn't work in Steel Path, but I have a sneaking suspicion those people haven't tried it with over 12,000% bonus armor, an additional 10,000 max health, and thousands of health regenerated per second. In addition to that, Chroma's damage bonus would make you one-shot every enemy you see, leaving them little opportunity to damage you in the first place. And, fun fact about Chroma's buff, it also applies to Jade's Glory on High, so she will essentially turn into an AC 1 million, evaporating everything unfortunate enough to be near, or actually far, from her. Alright, I think that's enough math lesson for today. I can already sense some of your eyes glazing over. There's just a few minor notes I want to go over first. So first of all, some of you may already realize this, but technically everything I've stated so far applies to every ability in the game, not just those that can be maintained. For example, if I'm playing as Ember and I'm throwing out her Fireball, of course that Fireball will also be affected by any buffs you currently have active. So you could perform a whole rain dance, granting yourself 7 different kinds of temporary strength increases, but the value for the effort of doing so is massively diminished by the fact that you're doing all that work to buff something which would be over and gone in 2 seconds. This is why abilities that you can keep going as long as you can maintain them is the focus of this discussion, because in that case you can instead benefit for potentially hours at a time from a single setup. Secondly, I want to clear up a question I have been personally asked, and I've verified myself several times over, because I am almost certain it would come up in the comments otherwise. And that is the placement of Nidus' Parasitic Link and the Fisher double strength corruption buff in the strength formula, let's call it. To put it simply, they are both absolutely total and final multipliers. That is to say, they multiply not only off of your modded power strength, but also scale from any possible temporary bonus you can get to your power strength in the game. For example, the 30% from Pax Bolt, the 40% from Matter Eye's Void Sling, 60% from your Grimoire Altfire, assuming you're using the Velmification, of course, 50% from the Parazon mod Power Drain, and anything else you can think of would all be doubled by Fissure Corruption and scale appropriately with whatever percent Parasitic Link you are receiving. So regardless of which of the two you put first, simply place Corruption and Parasitic Link at the end of the formula if you are looking to calculate how much strength you can expect from any given buff combination you plan to try for yourself. So hopefully with the above examples of just how potent ability snapshotting can be, you begin to utilize it yourselves in your own missions, and hopefully in squads trying out different combinations of frames with your friends. If you do try it out, let me know down in the comments below, what is your favorite frame or combination of frames that can take advantage of the power of snapshotting? I would love to see if any of you come up with any unique combos that I might not have thought of, and perhaps one of your comments will even inspire a future video. And if you did find this video helpful, please do not forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the video get out there to more people and allows the channel to grow. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.